What's going on, you beautiful people? We're going to talk about the three best Canadian ETFs. They're all tech heavy. At the end of the video, I'm going to tell you why I'm so bullish on the tech industry. And one of these guys is a dividend ETF. Stick around. First things first, we have the VFV.TO Vanguard 500. This is something everybody should hold in their portfolio. For the last 10 years, they've had a return of 12% every year. They do have a dividend yield of 1%, and they have by far the cheapest expense ratio out of all these stocks we're going to talk about, 0.09%. If you look into their holdings, of course, they're 100% based in the USA and the US market. They're holding Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, Mega 7, and 500 other companies. They are 32% of their portfolio is in the tech sector. Next up, we have QMAX. So QMAX is the dividend paying ETF, but they're also tech-based. So this is a very interesting ETF. It has not been around for a long time. It's only been around for a year, since 2023. And they only hold 15 companies, believe it or not. And these are all tech companies, more or less. 64% of them are tech. And if you look at the second biggest holding is Broadcom. Broadcom is a massive company. They're in the semiconductor chip industry. They're in the AI industry. And they are recently in the cybersecurity industry, which is a fast-growing market. Two bad things about the stock. Number one, they don't have a lot of assets under management, only 300 million. The other bad thing is they have a high management fee of 0.65%. Why is that? It's because they pay a high dividend yield of 9% while only holding 15 tech companies which don't pay a dividend yield. So how did they come up with the cash to pay you guys? It's because they use options. They make calls and puts on the market, and the money they generate through that, they pay it back as a dividend. And here it goes, guys. QQC, my favorite ETF. So these guys have an expense ratio of 0.2% and a very low dividend yield of 0.5%. But of course, you don't invest in this for dividends. You invest it for the growth. If you look at their holdings, they're pretty much an S&P 500, but more concentrated. So 50% of these guys' holdings are tech companies, and almost 50% of the portfolio is in the top 10 holdings. So you have higher exposure to the best performing stocks such as Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Broadcom, Amazon, and the list goes on. But right here is the important part of the video. This is why I love QQQ much more than VU. QQC is an alternative to VU. They hold the exact same things. And VFV is the alternative to VU. They hold the exact same things. So if we look at the long-term growth, we can see that QQQ is up 1,200% while VU is only up 400%. Here's some investing advice from Warren Buffett himself. We think diversification makes very little sense for anyone that knows what they're doing. There's less risk in owning 3 easy-to-identify, wonderful businesses than there is in owning 50 well-known big businesses. So QQQ is up much more because they only hold 100 companies versus VU, which holds 500 companies. So QQQ has a much higher exposure in the tech industry in the top 10 holdings. So the reason I invest in QQQ is because I want exposure to the tech industry. And right here shows the big reason why you should subscribe to my channel and watch my other videos. It's because I help to identify and find the wonderful businesses that are selling for a good price and will grow for decades. Comes the juicy part, guys. Why invest into QQQ and these huge tech companies like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and Tesla and whatnot is because they're the most exposed to a couple sectors: AGI, AI, and cloud services. So for example, let's take AGI, artificial general intelligence. If you don't know about this, you should dig into it because this is a very fast growing industry. We can see it's growing at a CAGR of 36%. CAGR means compounded annual growth rate. So every year it goes up by 36%. It's expected to go from 3 billion in 2024 to 116 billion by 2035. And if you look at AI, we have a similar story, CAGR of 19%. The AI market cap is currently sitting at 600 billion and is projected to go to 3 trillion within the next 10 years. This is something you should keep an eye on. So cloud services is growing at a CAGR of 17% from 2023 to 2032. That's almost 10 years for the following 10 years. And who are the biggest leaders in this sector? We have Amazon with 31% share of the whole market. Google's Azure holds 25%, Google's holds 11%, and Microsoft's Azure holds 25%. So these two companies alone hold more than 50% of the market share. The closest competitor is Alibaba, which is at 4% and is a wonderful stock to own as well. Here's somebody who's investing into Canadian ETFs only because you don't want to pay the currency conversion fee. There's 2 things you should do. First, watch my video on the best broker because there's brokers like Moomoo where you don't pay the currency conversion fee. And the second thing, the big thing, is Norbert's Gambit. So what is Norbert's Gambit? Norbert's Gambit is a method for exchanging CAD to USD without paying currency exchange fees with stocks that trade on both markets. So you buy a stock or an ETF that trades in both TSX and the NASDAQ. You buy it on the TSX and you sell it on the NASDAQ. So you bought it in Canadian dollars and you sell it in USD dollars. This is something you should dig into that could save you some money. Thank you guys very much for watching. And if you're looking for 3 individual stocks in fast growing industries, you should watch this video.